Good evening, and welcome to Token Minority Report on Unsafe Space. I am your minority, Beverly J. Clark, and today is Thursday, August 18th, 2022, and I accidentally set the stream for an hour later than I was supposed to, so, had some technical difficulties, but apparently not nearly as bad as Carter had last night on Dangerous Thoughts, so I need to watch that, but that sounded hilarious. Not here with me tonight is the great and powerful Alex Maselli, though she might actually be able to join later. However, she had a work meeting because she's too good for us. It's a likely story. However, I have a guest host here tonight, the mysterious and dulcet-voiced Lord Coley. So welcome to the show, Coley.
Hello.
How's it going? I mean, I know.
Don't.
I know. Just kind of my
it's dead, damn it, dead.
Yeah, I'm not the only one with technical difficulties. Coley has also had some computer problems today, but we both made it here. We're here.
Woo!
Yeah, if anyone has any, what do you need? Spare hard drives, graphic cards, just a new computer. Just send you a new computer.
I mean, I wouldn't complain too much, except it doesn't solve my files issue.
I know, yes. Yeah, I can't help you there outside of getting your Windows thing to start when you get the other hard drive. So, anyway, I guess, would you, for those that don't know you at all, like I said, you're mysterious. Do you have anything that you'd like to say about yourself? If not, you don't have to either.
I am private. Of the internet, just some schmuck that hangs around digital spaces.
Yep, and that's who I brought on here. Just some schmuck. That's a tongue twister there. Just some schmuck. Just some schmuck.
A little bit.
Schmuck. I can't even do it 3 times. So tonight we were going to talk about, there's the Dungeons and Dragons movie that you sent me the trailer of, and I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll go ahead and play that because we'll get demonetized, or maybe it'll be blocked worldwide. We'll see. But
yeah,
either way. Hello, Eloise. The shekels. Yeah, me too. So we have the D&D thing. I wanted to talk about Spy Family. It's a relatively new anime, and I've seen 5 episodes of it. Just lost Coley. And what was the other thing? Riverdale season 6, because I've been watching that. Hopefully Coley comes back. I don't know. Oh, she might have accidentally exited the window, because that happens too, and you disappear. Well, while she is going to attempt to return, I assume I'm going to share. Here she is here. Is everything okay?
I think so. It just closed out the window, and so it just out. So
sometimes when you back up, I'll accidentally back up off the screen. I think we've all done that, where it's just like, oh, I'm no longer in StreamYard.
Either way, it's fine. I'm fine. I'm here.
Everyone's here. It's a great way to start this off. Well, I was just saying that until you return, I was going to share some pictures because my 2 of my 3 geese, rather, they had mated, and Tui, the girl goose, has been sitting on 4 eggs. Only one seemed to be viable, and you could hear it chirping through the egg shell, which was super cute. And I share this. And the eggs are dirty, but that happens. But you can even see, I won't play the video of it, but let me see. Maybe I can. Maybe it will let me. Oh. But you can see its little bill. I think she flips it over and then it chirps.
I'm envious. I wish I had little bills.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, chirping in the egg. But and then it finally hatched super early in the morning, and I just came out. This is the picture that I came out to when I walked out in the morning. Oh, it's a video. and just saw its little body. But there's that, and then it's just the cutest thing ever. I love it so much, and I'm not sure what we're naming it yet because I'm thinking because they're both named Lemon Grab because after the Adventure Time cartoon, so you have Lemon Grab and Lemon Grab 2, who we call Tui, and then we have Lemon Hope already, who's the third goose, and I just call her the crazy aunt now because no one wants her around, and she's kind of psycho sometimes. She's weird. So then I'm thinking like for the baby, I'm going to call it Lemon Baby, Baby Grab, Lemon Junior. If we're going to go with the Adventure Time theme, we can still use Choose Goose, which is a character. So I'm not sure yet.
So yet another Lemon Grab that's mentioned more briefly than Lemon Hope.
Is there? Which one is that?
I was reminded of it on a video I was watching, a retrospective on Adventure Time that was talking about when Lemon Grab's kingdom got split, his other half, like the one that was supposed to balance things out, I think he got skinnier or something, and then the original Lemon Grab got like really fat, and then that's where Lemon Hope comes in. There was like I don't remember what his name was. It was Lemon something.
There's another. Okay, so it was Lemon Grab and then Lemon Grab 2. I don't remember which one's which, who split and which got larger, but okay. It's been a while since I watched the show. I'll have to look up the different lemons that there are. But that's what I kind of regret. I'm like, Lemon Hope might have been more fitting for this baby now because that was the one where like, oh, these two had like their, but
yeah,
it's too late. So we already have the other one. She's nuts. And hello, Johnny Boy Quickjaw, and Eloise says, "Oh God, not Riverdale. That's a dumpster fire and a half. Nothing like the comics." Or which comics are you talking about? The Riverdale comics or the Archie comics? And I'll say it's definitely a guilty pleasure show that I watch because it's so overly dramatic and cheesy. But this season 6 has been like weird and fun so far, though. But yeah, so there's. We'll get into that. But so I had Geese things. What else did I want to mention before we get into it? I don't know if I'd mentioned it to you, Coley, but I mentioned it to Alex and on the show before. I technically had now a prison pen pal in Texas whom I believe was wrongfully convicted of his crime. And so it's been like on and off for the last couple of years of like writing letters. And he recently got paroled and was supposed to get out at the end of July, but it was a little bit later. And he actually called me a few days ago, and I got to talk to him on the phone. Like he's out and back in Ohio with his family. He was talking about like with his wife and his kids and his grandchildren. People that he's been in prison for 20 years out of 40, and it wasn't even murder. It was an aggravated robbery or something. So like the shop owner got hurt. But the whole thing is kind of crazy, and it's likely that he was not the criminal who did it. But it was just there's a lot more to it, but it was just ridiculous how 40 years for not murder, and there are murderers who get like 20 years or less.
Yeah.
Arturo, welcome. Eloise says, "Call your new goose Dusty or Golden in hopes they lay a golden egg." Oh yeah. Wait, then why Dusty? What's Dusty Goose? Is that a thing?
I don't know myself, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Eloise, I'm uncertain of your reference. But anyway, yeah.
I know off the top of my head that's Dusty is Dusty Venture from Venture Brothers.
Oh, I've never really got into that. I feel like I think my boyfriend has talked about that a lot, but Eloise says, it's nothing like the Archie comics. Yeah, I'm definitely aware of that. There are Riverdale comics, and they definitely take it into like a darker version of Archie comics. But if you're like, I never was into those, and if you're like a fan of that, then you probably won't like the show or the new comics of it. But this season 6 gets like really meta, which I love. But first, yeah. Should I just start with Riverdale first, and then we can talk later, I guess, because I'm already talking about it. Might as well.
Right.
So Riverdale, as Aloise was pointing out, it's from the Archie comics. For those of you who have never seen it, which I assume is most everyone, because I think it's just me. I think I'm the only one who watches the show. It has Archie and Betty and Veronica and Jughead, and it's in the same universe as the Chilling Tales of, what was it? Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So the new Sabrina Spellman TV series, which you have watched all of, right?
Glorified fan fiction.
What about fan fiction?
The Sabrina, etc. title they gave it. It's a glorified fan fiction. It's like somebody was like, I'm Sabrina. I identify with this character so strongly. I'm Sabrina, and this is my story. And then they wrote it down and put it on TV.
Yeah. I wanted to like. Well, I could start with Sabrina since I watched that one first. I think I wanted to like it more, and like there were parts that were enjoyable, but it definitely got woke. Like it had the one character,
oh, for sure,
who was trans. It had a very feminist. I feel like it, which I don't generally care, but it was just. I think Alex and I were talking about this last week. It's about how preachy shows or movies get about it, because it's like if you have a trans character, okay, like whatever, or a gay character. But it was like, what's the purpose of it? Are you doing it just to virtue signal and say that it's an important thing, or is it actually relevant to the character? And I think the person who acts for the character of the trans one is is agender. They go by they them. But I think in the show, it's a girl who transitions to a guy. Yeah. It's been a while since I've watched that show too. Actually, I've tried to block out the whole thing because, spoiler alert, the end of the series was so terrible. It is one of my least favorite endings of a TV series ever. I hated it so much. I thought it was so stupid. It was because Sabrina, again, spoiler alert, dies. And it's not even
and
cool
I
death.
can't even remember it. I know I watched it.
Yeah.
I know that I watched it because I remember having this thought of like, well, she's not really dead, because the whole rest of the series, she's not really dead. So they can't just end it with her being really dead. It's like, you mean you avoided all of those absurd level death avoidances, like and this is what you die on. This is that you finally gave. You're like, fine, plot, you can have me.
Right. And that's how I always relate it to Supernatural, the ending for that, because I thought that was pretty stupid too. Like there were parts of it that I liked, but did you watch or know of the ending?
I didn't watch it all the way to the end, but I do know of the ending because it was around social media like crazy. Everybody was like, woo, they did the thing, they're a couple. And then a whole other wave of people was like, actually, he never accepted the guy's feelings. So,
wait,
not really.
What couple? Are we talking about the same show? What couple?
Supernatural?
Yeah. Which couple?
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it myself, but a lot of fans shipped that is to say, paired up one of the brothers with, I think it was Dean, with the angel guy that showed up. Yeah. I
don't remember them coupling up.
Well, that's because the audience shipped them.
Oh, but it didn't happen in the show.
No, it never was confirmed in the show. And then in the last episode, I guess, definitely spoilers. The last episode, I guess, Castiel sacrificed himself. And as he was laying there dying, he confessed his feelings to Dean. I think it's Dean. And then Dean was all like, that's great, buddy.
Oh, see, I don't remember. Like, however it came across, I definitely wasn't like.
I'm just going off of what I saw on social media.
Right, what they said. So that's why I just don't know. Like, it was subtle enough that, like, I think people could interpret it different ways, because I definitely didn't see it as like a romantic thing when that happened. So that's why I was like really confused.
Shippers were over the thing.
Yeah, so okay, and that was the part and maybe I just didn't like, maybe I blocked that out because I didn't care because again, spoiler alert, my problem was that Dean died. So they killed, I mean, Castiel did too, but like he was already an angel, and then he, you don't see him at the end, but they do say like Castiel's kind of like helping out and being in, helping Heaven and kind of taking the lead on some stuff. But Dean dies, and in just like the lamest way, like they circle back to like episode 1 where they had like the vampire nest and they brought back like the one girl that they were trying to save or something who turned into a vampire, or whatever it was. And then Dean gets hit, he gets pushed up against a beam or something and dies by a rebar in his chest. In the lamest way, like, and then like Sam goes on to live a life, has a family, blah blah blah. Like, what you could have at least done, same thing with Sabrina, is have it be a cool death of him like sacrificing himself by trying to save like his brother or his brother's family. Like, let it be years later where Sam already has a family, and then Dean sacrifices himself by like saving them. Make it like mean something instead of like, here's this like sucky death, like you've died way cooler in the past because they die and come back. But here's the one where it sticks, and it was just such a lame death. So same for Sabrina. She's lying there as they're bleeding her out to do a spell, and then she dies. She's just like saying goodbye to everyone, like in her just out loud mumbling, and then dies. And then they have like the funeral, and then it ends, which is annoying because they also have the graveyard where they bury Spellmans and bring them back to life. Like,
yeah.
Why?
There was a point in the series where they said that the more you use it, that the more likely it is to fail.
Right, but it doesn't even seem like they tried. Like when she died, they had a very much a permanence reaction.
No, that doesn't make sense because I thought that Sabrina had barely been buried in that graveyard, so she should have been good. She should have been.
Yeah, it was, but then I'll get into that with Riverdale. But first, let me jump back to chats. Eloise says about Dusty Goose. I mentioned that the eggs are dusty. Oh, I was saying that they were dirty because they're green, like you could see like green poop and stuff. But I get what you mean now. She's asking if there is an older version of Sabrina Williams. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know all the old versions. Hello, Anonymous. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the originals from 1996. Yeah, but her name was Sabrina Spellman. So I knew that. I love that sitcom. I watched all of that. And JB does not like shipping. I have done my fair share of shipping back in the day. Louise says Supernatural. I remember that. So they pulled a Legend of Korra.
Yeah, they basically did. I think there was a kiss.
Oh, at the end, like because Korra, they held hands as they were like going up into the thing, which I was okay with that too.
Maybe they did just hold hands.
There was a fan made thing that added a kiss at the end, which when I watched it, I thought was real, and so I kept waiting for it, and when it never happened, but it was a fan made video.
Okay.
JB and Doctor Who fans ship the Doctor and Yaz, which then made it into the show. I don't remember who Yaz is. Which Doctor was that? Rib Rascal. Yes, it is. But I confess to shipping Fred and Daphne for Scooby-Doo as a kid. Well, they were already. Well, I don't remember now. I think they kind of hinted toward. They're always hinting toward a relationship between those two anyway. So that was a fair shipping.
I mean, how else would it be that Scooby and Velma found all the clues? The big joke that Daphne and Fred were just somewhere in the bushes, like, you guys handle the mystery. We're gonna.
Shaggy's eating. Yeah. That's I really love. I was just talking the other night about. I think during D&D we were brought up Scooby-Doo, and it took me a long time. It wasn't until like more recent years when I realized how much I love Scooby-Doo. Like it's always just been around. Like I've always enjoyed it, but I never really thought about like, yeah, I love this. I don't even know what to like, not just show, but like the whole universe of Scooby-Doo. Like I've always watched it since I was like 5. I remember watching it.
There's so many generations of it, though.
Yeah, well, I'm on my favorite, and sorry, we're definitely going on a tangent. We'll get back to Riverdale in a bit. But one of my favorite incarnations of Scooby-Doo is Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. It came out like a decade or so ago. It's only 2 seasons long, but it had an overarching theme, and the overarching storyline, I mean. And it was just really well done. Like it was funny and witty and kind of meta sometimes. And the only thing I didn't like was sort of Velma, mostly because they put Velma and Shaggy together for a while, and I was just like, I'm not having this. Like the way they made Velma was just like this, not like annoying, I don't know, like overly neat, clingy, and like I don't know. She was like, oh yeah, like you're a girl in your first relationship, and so she just didn't handle it well. But so like I get that maybe I'm supposed to dislike it, but I really disliked it. Rib Rascal plot twist. It turned out I was actually more interested in Fred. JB, you don't remember because it's new. Who probably didn't watch it and it's forgettable. Oh yeah, I stopped during 12th Doctor. I think at the beginning of 12th Doctor's when I just kind of fell out of interest. Is it really shipping if you're making it a 3-way with you in the middle? Says JB to Rib. But anyway, this backtracking. Scooby-Doo, Sabrina. Oh, Supernatural ending was terrible. Again, it was so upsetting. I did like that they changed Heaven, but the makeup that they did on Sam's face was also to make him an old person was really, really bad. And Supernatural, back to Sabrina. They bled her out. She died. That was stupid. However, she makes a cameo appearance in Riverdale season 6. Finally. What does it say? Johnny Boy Quickdraw says there's a YouTube channel called Mystery Incorporated. They crowdfunded a series and have done, I think, a pilot so far. It's cheesy, but fun, I assume. I did not know about that. Okay, I'm definitely going to look into that. Aloise says, is that Scooby-Doo before or after the episode with the song Earth, Wind, Fire, and Air? Is that Scooby-Doo, the incarnation? Or I think that sounds like one, because that's from the Hex Girls. So that might be from that series. I don't know. Is Riverdale the Archie comic? Asks George. It's based off of the Archie comics. It's the spin,
It's
and
loosely based on the Archie.
You've got the characters. You have like kind of this sort of the characters, and then but it's a lot more dramatic. And what I like about, again, it's a guilty pleasure show, but what I like is that each season kind of has a sort of different like subgenre, like, but it's mystery and horror, but they hint toward like, is it going to be supernatural for some of the things, and it always ends up not being it. And they never, and I think Riverdale and Sabrina were supposed to be in the same universe, but they never actually crossed over. Like they'd reference like one town to the other, and they finally did a crossover in season 6, but it's in an alternate universe. Like season 6 is just, they went like crazy with it. And I think there's, because they got super meta, especially for the 100th episode. And it was just like really, convoluted. And I was loving it though, because I thought it was amazing. There's so much to that. To season 6, they so it's immediately like weird culty stuff. They throw in magic, and it's an alternate universe called Riverdale, and even this episode 1 is called Welcome to Riverdale, which I was like, oh, like the podcast on YouTube called Welcome to Night Vale, and they have Jughead as a narrator. Did you say something?
I just was like, oh yeah, the whatever you just said it. What is short-term memory? The YouTube thing you mentioned.
Oh, Welcome to Night Vale.
Night Vale.
Yeah, which
okay.
I never really. I think I listened to like part of an episode. My one friend, she like really loved it, and it kind of makes me want to go back and listen to it all. But I know it was.
I've tried to get through it, but it's so meandery. It's hard for me to even.
Oh really?
Figure out what's going on. Well, because it's a mock broadcast. So it's like this guy sitting there telling you the news, But imagine he's telling you the news for a town that's much like the middle of nowhere from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, watch out for this cloud. People have been disappearing. Just stay away from the cloud. And he just goes from thing to thing. And it's interesting. I just found myself like tuning it into the background, so I could not remember what was going on at all.
I forgot. I knew that the cloud. So again, having barely any knowledge on it, I remembered a cloud. I thought my friend, and she's my roommate for 10 too, but like I thought she said that the cloud was the mayor. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that means. But I also, it's interesting that you said that people are disappearing with the cloud, because that reminds me of the movie Nope. Maybe they just stole that concept very loosely from the Night Vale. But anyway, with Riverdale, alternate reality called Riverdale, Jughead is narrating it. It starts off, again, this is full spoilers. I've only seen the first 5 episodes, though, so I'm not spoiling the entire season, but I'm going to spoil the first 5 episodes. They end up being like Cheryl's does some weird cult stuff at the end where everyone, like, who starts off normally ends up agreeing, and they all sacrifice Archie and kill him, and he is dead for the next 3 or 4 episodes. And they're just like, well, and they kind of like go back to normal of Riverdale, and as if Archie just kind of, they don't even really talk. They talk a little bit about him, but just kind of like, yeah, Archie died. Oh well, where the entire town like sacrificed him. And then there's witchcraft and other magic and there's a devil episode, so like Jughead is just like narrating each episode, and other characters die too. The one character, Tony, she takes over for some like weird water mother monster. So it's just like really, really weird stuff. It seems like each episode is kind of like, here's this like creepy tales kind of thing, which is probably what they were going with too, because like, here's the devil episode, and they talk about that, and Reggie, the one character Reggie die, or a couple characters die. So it was like they were killing off everyone. And then season 5 is the 100th episode, which they bring back like every character from the previous seasons, like, or at least like in season 1, who died, and they're all still alive in Riverdale, and they just talk about like Jughead awakens and he knows that there are 2 universes, and then they're like colliding because there's another Jughead who's dead, and you find out that it's the narrator of the previous episodes who's dead. And like, it just gets so meta because this Jughead like finds comics of Riverdale that exist in real life. Like, they have the Riverdale comics and the Riverdale comics, and he's talking about how like issues 95 onward have Riverdale. And so it's just like this weird meta thing. They even reference in season 1, the character Reggie is played by one actor, and then either in season 1 or season 2, they change him. So there are 2 different actors, and when they're looking at the comics, the current Reggie is like, how come I look different? And they ask, what? Like, yeah, I mean, like, look at, and he holds up the 2 comics, like, both devastatingly handsome, but different. And so they're like, I don't know, so they just kind of ignore it until the season 1 Reggie actor shows up. They bring him onto the show, and both just exist. And they're both just Reggie, and Veronica, who's dating Reggie at the time, is just kind of like, you guys, because they're like jealous of each other, like, you guys need to work this out. You need to learn to coexist together. Like, she's taking it really chill somehow, and just kind of like, yeah, well, this is happening, and you guys need to deal with it. So the whole thing is just so crazy, and I think they're just like, yeah, let's do whatever we want with this show.
But sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that's as far as I've gotten so far, where they're just like trying to like, oh, both universes are going to get destroyed, so they have to, they can only save the one. And like, it gets more complex too, where like Jughead, the narrator, comes back to life. Archie is alive too and gonna marry Betty, and Archie is the one who strangled the Jughead narrator and has been killing other people too, because he's kind of crazy, and he's like, no one stays dead in this universe, so like, it's okay to kill them because they're going to come back, because he wants his dad to come back to life because his dad died, but the actor who played his dad died. So that's why like they killed off the character because the actor died. But it was just like okay, so like he somehow knew about the universes and everything, and it was just so weird. But and at the end, so Jughead narrator comes back, and like the main Jughead has to like be isolated forever. He tells them like, you can just write the story to continue this universe forever. So he like becomes the god essentially. He's locked away in this build a house or room or whatever forever to continue writing to keep Rivervale alive. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad that we're going back to Riverdale now because I think, but and I don't know. It was just a lot. 5 episodes and a lot of convoluted stuff is happening.
Yeah.
GB says shipping. When fans create romantic relationships that don't actually exist in the story, it's like adding smoked smelt to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, hence cringe. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't super consider Fred and Daphne as shipping because they already were hinting toward it.
Shipping is whether or not there's an actual real relationship. Ship just means this is the ship you're boarding. These are the characters you like together. It can be canon and uncanon.
Yeah, that's fair too. I'm trying to remember.
The thing. The uncanon sounds like the thing that's more cringe under that statement.
Yeah. Shipping. I feel like you don't need to ship when it's already happening. So maybe that's where I'm thinking about it because I don't think I usually like, oh, if they're already dating, then I don't need to ship them. So I've always kind of considered it.
Well, since you're also got all of the fan people who are shipping uncanon characters, there's a distinction between shipping canon and shipping uncanon.
Okay. Yeah. See, this gets really complex too.
Fandoms.
Yeah. Eloise, there's a Scooby-Doo comic set in a post-apocalyptic world. Imagine someone includes in that. Holy crap, is there? I want that. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I stopped after Mystery Incorporated. The Be Cool Scooby-Doo, I hate the art design reminded me of Family Guy. I hated the eyes, and it just I couldn't get past it, and I never watched anything from that onward. Eloise says it's a recent comic, and there's also one where it's crossing over with the DC universe. Oh, well, I'm not surprised with that because Scooby-Doo had Batman and Robin in the 70s cartoon.
Well, they had a lot of guests.
The Globetrotters, Sonny and Cher.
Yeah. The Globetrotters were on a lot.
Are they? Oh, man. I remember at least one episode, but it's been so...
Yeah, they were regulars, definitely.
JB's like Super Mutants run. Bye, Rib Rascal. Have a good night. Eloise just searched it up. Scooby-Doo crossover with DC was Scooby-Doo and Batman crossover that came out in 2018. Okay, yeah, see, Batman's already friends with them. So I have always loved the Adam West version of Batman. That's the only one I ever really got into, actually. I don't think I've seen like any other Batmans now that I think about it. Yeah, because I'm not really into DC. Like I do watch Marvel movies, but it's hard to surpass Adam West. Johnny Boy Jinkies. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with Riverdale. I know you've only watched like a first few episodes or something, right, Coley?
I think it was the first season. Might have been a little bit the second. Didn't retain it too well. All I know is I was upset with Jughead not being obsessed with food enough.
Oh, yeah, that was like one thing that I vaguely knew about, as the Archie comic characters. They definitely loosely based stuff on like they just kind of took the names and like the looks a little bit. And
I mean, the Archie comics I got to see didn't even tip me off to the supernatural nature of the world. Apparently there was actual stuff happening in that comic, but all I ever saw were short little clips of Archie having lady problems.
Were there? Archie having lady problems? Whoops. I don't remember
Betty and what's her name?
Veronica.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking lady problems, like a lady having problems.
Oh, yeah,
So
no.
I was like, oh, what? Why would he be? So I was
I
confused.
said supernatural.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I was like, how recent is this? Is this like a woke thing now that they were like, oh, Archie's got trans, so now he's a woman and having lady problems. So yeah,
Because
no,
we all know how that works.
yeah. But yeah, he does have the whole triangle thing going on, love triangle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Raphael says the Archie comics are pretty clean, no dark side. That's what like it's very loosely based in that. Like here's a dark version of Archie's world where a lot of drama, a lot of cheesiness, a lot of cheese. Because even so, seasons 5 and 6, 5 is actually probably the lamest one because like there wasn't really like a mystery. It was just this 6-7 years later after season 4 where they meet back up together. So they hadn't seen each other in a long time, but so they're no longer high schoolers. But even when they were in high school, it was like, what is happening? Like, they're all starting like businesses and like having like a speakeasy underneath the chocolate shop. They're doing like, it just seemed like a lot of stuff going on for high school students. Like, how are you doing that? You're having to fight serial killers, solve mysteries, run your own businesses, and just graduate from high school. So it was so unrealistic, I'd say.
I mean, there's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's kind of the deal there.
Well, I mean, Buffy didn't really she didn't have like businesses and stuff. And they even show that she kind of struggled.
No, yeah, that's true.
With stuff. So, I mean, like they had fun with that show too, but at least it was like, I'm fine with high schoolers doing things. Like I love, a lot of anime is high school stuff. And I love high school storylines and things, but it was just like they did a lot of adult like things though too, where it was just like, how come there are no parents around ever? Like the teens are all like sleeping over in each other's beds and stuff because they're sleeping together. And then like, oh, like we can go take a shower together and so too. I'm like, where are your parents ever? They're only there when they need like some sort of actual like drama, because sometimes the parents are bad guys and things. So, but it was just like, this is Veronica's gonna go start another business. So it was very unrealistic in that, at least as far as my high school experiences go. Like, I don't think anyone started their own speakeasies underground.
That's a stretch.
Yes, yeah. JB says the Google definition of shipping slang is when fans want a relationship. You wouldn't say I want ice cream when you have it already. QED shipping.
I'm that you're trusting Google on that.
I know, yeah. Why are you using Google? Yeah. I'm sure there are a lot of definitions and stuff too with it. Eloise says it sounds like Riverdale is trying to be Gossip Girl. Never watched Gossip Girl, but why would I need to when I have Riverdale? So, but yeah, the little I know of Gossip Girl, I would agree with you there that it's, again, guilty pleasure type of show, very cheesy, but what I think I really liked about it early on was that it had mystery. Like I love Scooby-Doo. I love mysteries. So I like that. It kind of had the horror thing with just the serial killers and whatever. And even like cult stuff too. So they had like weird, the third season seemed like it might be supernatural, and it was for a Dungeons and Dragons thing. It was called, what was it? Gargoyles, and so it was G&G, but I forget what the other G stood for. But yeah, and then it was like killing people. Like they were trying to think, oh, like people are seeing this like demonic gargoyle thing that's killing them, but then it ends up just being like drugs or something, and people killing each other or themselves and stuff. So it was I don't know. So I kind of liked the different genres that they were doing with it, and it just keeps getting weirder to me. But anyway, I guess that's enough of that. I don't think once I finish the season, then maybe I don't know if I'm gonna love it or hate it. But I
It
wanted
does
to.
hinge a lot on how a thing actually ends.
Yeah, that's what I said about Nope last week. I think last week with the where if the main guy OJ died or not, because that was just like that was going to be the tipping point of like, do I like this movie or do I hate it? And it was,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that too because I didn't know like, is he? They didn't show him die, so I'm like, is he going to come back at the end? Is he going to be here or is he gone? And I was waiting before like before I had that like strong emotional reaction. But moving on to, what is it, Spy Family, the anime. So I've only watched the first 5 episodes of that one too. Been a busy week
Okay.
with a baby Goose, so I haven't finished
Sure.
anything. But Spy Family. So you've seen, I think there was 12 or 13 episodes. So you've seen at least some. If
The
not
link
all.
you gave me had 12 episodes.
12. Okay. Yeah.
I rewatched from episode 5 onward before getting on here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
nice. Yeah. Marathoning it.
I couldn't tell if I had watched it or not because when I was watching it before, wherever the episode stopped, I was so into it. I ended up digging up the manga to read. And so I already know what was going to basically happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know how to read, so I never read manga. Never a problem. But what do you think of the manga/anime generally?
Oh, I think it's really fun. They have some really interesting dynamics going. There's right ways to do liar revealed and there's wrong ways, and I don't know if they're actually going to do the reveal part. But this story
no
is
after
basically
season 5 though for me.
Huh?
So no spoilers after episode 5. Sorry, after episode 5.
Oh, I was going to say season 5. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I need to go find the rest. Hold on.
Right.
Yeah, no. What was the question?
I was just saying, don't try not to do spoilers. We're allowed to spoil to the audience, but I don't want to be spoiled too.
Yeah, no, I got that.
And then I was asking how you just like the show generally. Well, you were
I was just saying it was great. Yeah. The whole, like, each and every person
and the reveal, you were saying you didn't know how the reveal
had their own secret. So, like, that's the whole thing. Like, I read a thing by the creator, at least I assume, because I'm never sure when it comes to translations. But basically, there's a blurb in the manga where they're all like, I really like stories where the characters have something to hide from each other and they have to keep it to themselves, so they're running around making sure that it doesn't get discovered. So I thought that I would do a story like that. It's paraphrased from the creator. And that it's you can really mess up a story like that, but I think that they're really hitting a good balance so far.
Yeah. So again, having only seen the first 5 episodes, I think it's super cute. I didn't realize, I kind of knew that it was like at first I thought it was just a real spy family together, and then I heard that like, oh no, they're not a real family. They're like pretending to be for a mission. And then so once I watched it, I was like, oh, only the dad is a spy who adopts a telepathic daughter, and he marries an assassin, and none of them know. Only the telepathic daughter knows who their 2 parents are, but no one else like knows about one another. And so the thing though,
one of my favorite parts is that she's telepathic, so she hears all these thoughts and she's reacting to them because she's like 4, and she like can't not react to their thoughts, but at the time she's just precocious enough to hide the fact that she's telepathic. Like, I feel like she's like gets really close to like giving it away by accident so many times, and yet they just kind of roll with it
You shrug it
whenever
off.
yeah, she's like, gosh, only up to episode 5. So yeah, basically she can hear all the things that they're thinking, and she theoretically could provide perfect help because she's like, that thing they're thinking about, I could make it happen. But if she just responds straight up to their thoughts, like perfectly to a T, then she keeps imagining in her head, oh, you weird child, we're going to take you back. Because like that's what's happened to her before is
Right.
gets adopted, they find out she's a telepath, they get freaked out, they return her.
Okay, is that why they were returning? I wasn't sure because I thought like the scientists were just like, if you tell anyone, like no one will like. So I didn't know if she's always kept it a secret, or if she was returned because she revealed her secret.
Yeah, I think it was a case of her getting found out, so she learned not to show it.
Okay. Well, so I guess I'm sort of concerned is I don't know about like the morals. I've heard that like, oh, this show is supposed to be kind of like showing how like family, the Japanese really are trying to push for like having more families and babies and stuff too because they're problems, and that's kind of like what this is supposed to be for. But so my concern is that allegedly, I don't. That's just what I've heard from other people though. But I'm not sure if the morals are actually great. If you're trying to say like have families with one another, but it's and the whole family unit thing, but you're keeping like major secrets from one another and like the lack of communication and honesty between the family members, like even if you end up saying like, oh, you could tell like they really care about each other, they barely know each other, but like they both love this girl now, and they put on a good like public display, and even just like privately that they seem to care about one another. But it's just like, is this what the best kind of morals that we want to teach? Is that it doesn't matter how deep your secrets are and how much you have to keep to yourself and struggle alone, and as long as you have a family unit to like put on a good face toward.
Japan is strange in how it balances social issues. I mean, obviously you can't put a blanket on a whole country like that. Even a small, well, I guess they're large islands, even a series of islands like Japan, putting a big, huge blanket on the culture is kind of a weird, potentially inaccurate thing. But if I understand correctly, there's not a lot of, like, on average, there's not a lot of great communication between families.
Yeah.
Like, on normal. So I don't think that that would register as a problem per se. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think generally they have the whole, I don't know about like communication between family members, but like, I think culturally they're known for being more repressed, right?
Yeah, well, for a very long time, the salaryman thing was the ideal gold standard for employment, right? And get yourself a good, solid salaried job, keep it for until you retire, and then work yourself to the bone for that job. So there was already, especially in urban families, there was already this, the dad just pops in for a few minutes and then does his own thing. Like for a lot of families, it was, I'm not trying to imply that there was an unloving nature. I'm just trying to say that a family unit where you don't see the dad a lot was kind of normal for a while there.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. And especially time periods and stuff too. Like a lot of different cultures have gone and still go through that type of phase. And in Spy Family, I'm not sure what the time period is. Like it's not modern.
No, I think it's revolving around whichever World War split Germany into, because I don't know if you noticed by the naming convention, but it's depicting East and West Germany.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Alex has just joined us. Hello.
Ooh.
It turns out that she was not too good for this show.
Helps if you turn on audio.
Oh, she
You
is too
don't
good
need
for the show.
audio.
She doesn't even want to listen to us. We were just talking. I'm sure. I don't know if you've heard of the anime Spy Family.
I'm not actually.
So it's newer and relatively popular. So I keep hearing like other people talk about it. So I finally was like, let me jump into this. But we were just saying we were talking about time period wise because it didn't look like super modern, but it was modern enough that they have like, I don't know, certain technology. But and Coley was saying how it's maybe around like a World War II. Like it's not in real life. They have like made up countries, but it seems like based off of like Germany, when East and West Germany.
The names that they give the place, it's definitely a split Germany with alternate names.
Yeah. What was it? Estonia and West something, whatever it is. But
Estonia, I think, essentially just means east.
Oh, okay. And then that makes sense with the West and East.
Yeah.
Easy naming. But we were mentioning too, like, I don't know, I've heard, I think it, like John De La Rose has talked about it too, where it's like about that it's a good family unit kind of theme of a show though. And but my concern with it is that one's a spy, one's an assassin, and one's a telepath. Like the daughter's a telepath. The husband is a spy and wife is an assassin. Like he has to put together this family unit for a mission. So he like adopts a girl, he marries this woman, and none of them know each other's secrets except for the telepathic daughter because she can read their minds. And my issue with the family unit thing is that with keeping all these secrets, like huge secrets, doesn't seem like that's great morally as far as having like if you're trying to push as like, yes, having a family is a good thing and that's what we should do as a culture, but also if you have major secrets that can put each other in danger, don't tell anyone about it.
Well, not only that, but then there's the moral quandary of the girl who knows everyone's secrets. Like that is all, like that's also like that's on the opposite end of that, where she's like invading their privacy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and it seems like she's only 4 years old though, so it seems like she can't control it either. Because when she's in a crowd, she just hears everyone's thoughts and gets tuckered out. So
yeah.
So I'll be more forgiving for her because she's,
she's a child.
Yeah.
I don't think this has come up yet, but it's not really a spoiler you need to worry about. It's just a tiny little thing I find adorable, which is whenever the little girl is asked what her dad does, she's always like, psychologist, because his cover job is psychology.
Right.
So
she did say once, she started saying spy and then said spectacular psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So I thought,
But she super loves this spy show. Which is why when this guy comes in and he's thinking in his head, I've got this mission to complete, I got to get this kid, she like does everything in her power to be like, I'm the perfect kid, get me.
Yeah. So she really wants to be adopted. And even when he's thinking, I need to find a wife to like complete this mission and do that. And then so they bump into the woman, and then she's thinking about how I'm an assassin. She's like a shy but assassin by night job. And so then she's like, the daughter's creeped out, like, oh, surprise. But then she's like, that's so cool too. So she like gets them together, like, oh, I want both a mom assassin and spy dad. So it is like it's a cute relationship between like all these three unexpected characters who are going to be a family. And so that's what like just as the show, I've only seen the first 5 episodes, but like as a show, like it's a fun, cutesy show that also is graphic. Like, so they kind of do like, oh, the daughter just episode 5 was that they made it into the school that she needed to get into as part of the mission. But then she's like, oh, I want to in her spy show, I want to have be a princess at this castle and be saved by the spy. So like they have to go through elaborate measures to go to the castle, and he gets like, as a spy, he like gets all of like everyone and their organization to go and like pretend to be bad guys. They go to fly to this castle, pretend to be bad guys, and they have to go through like this whole role play thing for her because he's like, it's for the success of this mission to save the country, like to keep things up that they have to do
the fucking castle. He rented the whole damn castle and then gave his spy company the bill, and then they're like, he wants to spend how much?
Yeah, that was so expensive. But they're like, but he's known as like the best spy that they have, so like whatever he wants. But then they just spend so much money, so it's like super cute. But also it's graphic because there's some blood and stuff when the mom is like assassinating people and just always thinking about murdering people. To even like get her daughter into the school, she's thinking about like, oh, she's on a waiting list. If I murder another kid's parent, then they won't be able to go. So she like considers it, and she's like, no, I can't do that. I can't kill an innocent person. But it's just like, and then the daughter can hear all of it too. So she's just like either terrified or like, okay. So it's a fun show so far. I'm enjoying it. To backtrack a little bit, I'm trying to put all chats on screen. Raphael says Scooby-Doo cartoons are fun to watch. He also says, today my wife and I went to see the movie Fall. Great movie, but I had a panic attack. My hands were sweating from the tension. Really? I have not heard of Fall. Have you guys?
No.
Eloise, I started to read the manga a while ago, saw a parody of it called Spies on a Train on YouTube. Still in chapter 3. That Spies on a Train? Is that a live action or is that animated? For free. Oh, yeah, that's all I do that's how I'm watching the anime too. Because on Crunchyroll, they only do like right now it's just doing clips of stuff. And then but if I register, Crunchyroll doesn't have a TV app, so I can't watch it on the TV. And then I also have Funimation still too. So the whole thing was just like, I'm not paying for this. I'm just going to find this online elsewhere if I can't watch it on my TV. So, which I think I can if I do the Plex app, but I haven't. AH says she's too good for the show. I think we're talking about Alex here when Alex popped up. Yeah, that was what I've been saying. She had a work thing going on. So
it took me, like, I'm the one who shared the links and everything today when you put them out, and it took me hours to notice that speech bubble you put on.
Oh, really?
With my name on it. I didn't notice it. And I sent it to a friend, and he didn't notice it at first either. He goes, "It's nice, this thumbnail." And then I go, "That speech bubble." And he's all like, "Oh." So it was so like, you, Alex. It took hours. It took me hours to notice it.
For those who did not see the thumbnail, I think I put Alex abandoned me in a speech bubble outside from my face. Yeah, because I've just been saying that I think all over, like in Discord and Twitter and stuff too, like YouTube. I was gonna put that. I probably would have. I don't think I could have fit it in the YouTube the title for character limits, but I was gonna say something like, yeah, Alex left me. Alex.
You said on Twitter, Alex hates me.
Oh yeah, he hates me.
Yeah.
So alone, she hates me. I think it was last night too, because we were playing some Left 4 Dead, and Coley was there, and when I was mentioning that you weren't gonna be able to make it today, and so we were discussing what we might talk about, and I think I joked about something about like, oh, like Alex hates me, and then Coley's like, does she? I was like, does that? I'm like, I hope not. I don't think, like, does she enjoy talking to you? I'm like, I hope so, because she does. I mean, like, we do it every Thursday. I think she likes it. Like, I don't know. Probably.
I'm not gonna answer. You hanging on that one.
Yeah. So it's loves it. Loves it so much. Yeah, so close. Let's see. Eloise is perfectly legal too. I did that one. Raphael, Japan does put a lot of pressure on students to get good grades to the point of suicide, and it's common. Yes, I've read stuff about Japan being very high in suicide rate. I think murder is low, but I think the suicide rate is pretty high. unless you're like in the Yakuza.
Yeah, it's higher than average for the teenage grouping, which is a concern all on its own, because the teenage grouping is the highest percentage in most places, like pre-teen to teen. But in Japan, you see a huge gap between them and most of the rest of the world, where middle-aged men commit suicide.
Oh,
because it's a big deal to lose your job. There's this, I'm not sure how strong that mentality is right now, but for the longest time, losing your job was kind of like the end of the world because it looked really bad on applications and resumes, and there's like this commitment thing in the culture where you really commit to a thing or you're not doing your best. So from what I have come to understand, a lot of adult men who lose their jobs have like a family and everything. If they lose their job, they're just like, it's done. It's over. I'm a fall off the building.
Yeah, I like to, I think, romanticize Japan's culture from anime a lot too, where like, oh, it seems like it can be like cool to live there, but then also like they do even show an anime too of like how stressful it is for high schoolers, like even for teenagers, because you're having to study and apply to get into high school. Not everyone goes to high school, and so I think it's kind of, high school is kind of like college essentially, because then if you don't go to high school, you just go into the workforce at like 15 years old. But then I think, yeah, they have a lot more stress put on them in different ways. Like a lot more expectations that cause stress in a lot of, and especially for the men. So I
think what they call high school. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the suicide culture upon failure like predates when they modernized, because I mean there was a lot of like, oh, I failed my master, so I'm going to kill myself. My master died, so I'm going to kill myself. Seppuku, yeah. Like it was already a thing, so it's like the idea that they would still have it in their culture makes sense, because like how do you can't, it's kind of hard to excise something that you've been doing for like more than 1,000 years as a culture. So
yeah, I guess when you have that much history, another thing of just generally romanticizing stuff of like, oh, you know, like other countries are like 700,000 or more years old, and like that's cool to have such a long history, you know, when you live in the United States and we only go back a couple hundred years. But on the other hand, if your culture has a lot of things that are like, you know, embedded into it that might not always work in your favor in some situations, then maybe we don't.
I'd like to respond to Alois, the most recent comment there. It's considered honorable to commit seppuku. That's the samurai version of suicide. I heard South Korea's suicide rate was higher, though. From what I understand, the family honor thing is pretty pervasive in Asiatic cultures, in that the family is more important than the individual, and the community is more important than the family, with some exceptions. But generally, those exceptions are reserved for the most influential families. So this whole restoring your honor by ending yourself thing, while I think it is stereotypically associated with Japan, it's by no means a unique concept to them alone.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Well, some Western societies had it too before, in like the Middle Ages, even. It was
that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
But it kind of went away. There was like the whole idea that maybe if your Jarl fell, that you would kill yourself, but it didn't persist in the way that it has in Asiatic countries. That the idea that if if you fail, you kill yourself. Like that has not, like, I'm not, like, it seems like there's not as much of a cultural demand, and it didn't stick around in Western societies to commit suicide over failure, a specific failure. Like that's the thing, is that it's not like I don't want to like muddy the water, but there's this like a lot of people who commit suicide in Western cultures do so because they feel like failures, they are depressed. And in 1929, when the stock market crashed, a lot of people killed themselves because they lost everything. It's not that they just lost a job; they literally lost everything. So like it was huge. So like they didn't see that they could ever recover from that. And I think that has that perspective is actually something that feeds into suicide, and especially mass suicides. This idea that you will never recover. And if your society tells you that the threshold for never recovering is a hell of a lot lower, then suicide rates are going to be higher.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was trying to think too, just as far as like nowadays with a lot of things culturally being like black pills, where I think there are some people that are going through similar concerns as far as like, well, like are things going to be, and not just necessarily like as the individual though, but just like for a whole society, like, oh man, are things going to get better? Is this like a failure? Like, so, but I know for some people, like, even on both sides of kind of like the woke and unwoke for like different reasons, like you've got like the climate change extremists and stuff too, who are thinking, you know, and not just them, but like other activists and stuff, where they're just like, oh, the world is ending and things. So like, why bother having children? And then on the flip side, like, oh, other people are ruining culture forever, so like this isn't a great world to bring children into. So just kind of like see a lot of I don't know, potential societal collapse.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have become hopeless on both sides over a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I'm not an optimist, but I'm not a doom lover either. Like I'm like, I can only control so much. I can only like, I can hear that.
That's a commotion.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that I have within my control, and there are things that I will never have within my control, and that means that, and I'm not without impact, but I'm not I'm not a mental maniac actually in charge of everything. So like, I see no reason to become either like someone who is enraptured with doom, or someone who thinks everything is going perfectly. Like I just won't feel that way, because it's like I know I have a very limited area of control.
Yeah, and you can do that you can.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I know a lot of people get frustrated, and it's like, you know what? Being in control of everything is a nightmare. Like, you don't want it. Here, I guarantee you, the more like, I want responsibility. I'm not saying that, but I want responsibility for myself and myself only. This whole, I want to control the entire world. It's like, well, then you're gonna go gray at like 25. Like,
it's a lot of pressure for anyone when they feel that they need to be. No, I'm not saying it's bad to help people, but like when they feel the need that like, oh, we need to help, like even Greta Thunberg, who's like terrified of all these things, and with climate change and stuff, that like when you think that it's your responsibility to take care of everyone else, then of course you're going to have a lot of anxiety and stuff. So that's why it's better culturally to start teaching autonomy, and just kind of like, hey, if we all take care of ourselves, you can also work to like help out. I don't know. I like the idea of like helping people that you know more locally and stuff, because like that kind of has a more direct impact to you, rather than like thinking about like helping other people around the world and not saying it's bad to like donate to charity that might help such and such, but then I don't know, there are people who think that like it's our duty to do so, to like help everyone else. But like, well, again, if you think that you have the responsibility to take care of the world, that's unrealistic as one person.
Well, and also you can't. What were you saying?
It's a bottomless pit.
Mm.
Yes. Well, and also you cannot be guaranteed that your impact is positive. You can't.
Right. Yeah.
Because
a lot of people donate to charities thinking, yay, I made a difference. And they didn't really look into the charities or how they spend that money.
Yeah.
For one example.
Well, we just, and we as a country, like as a society, destroyed the textile industry in Africa by donating clothes to Africa.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because why would, like, people got clothes for free, so why a company can't sell clothes, so they won't make clothes, so they fire everyone who worked for them.
Yeah.
And it's like same thing with shoes. And like by donating everything to Africa, we're basically saying you don't get to have jobs or industry.
Mm-hmm. That you are incapable of taking care of yourself too. And
they had burgeoning textile industries, and then there was this huge thing in the 90s and aughts about donating your clothes, for global charities, and they almost all went to fucking Africa. And then we ended up with the impact was almost immediate, like 40% lost in the textile industry. So it's like you cannot guarantee that your good deed actually has good impact. Like you actually have to. You can't just do it without thinking. You actually have to think about it. You actually have to do your research to see whether or not your impact is going to be positive. Otherwise, you might actually be making things worse.
Right, and you still don't even know for sure. Like even if you've done all the research that you can, you just don't know. Like because we're not omniscient, so you just don't know how an impact might happen. So even, I mean, like it's not like we have all the information to I'll keep picking on climate change stuff. But it's just like when you're trying to force everyone else to do these things because you believe that this is going to make a change for the better without necessarily knowing whether or not your information is accurate. Like, I don't know, when you're trying to force that change, you don't know if it's going to be a positive or negative impact in the end. And most likely, because you don't know, it's going to be negative. It's kind of...
I saw one charity that did this thing. It was about stopping the spread of malaria in Africa. And what they did is they actually they gave seed money to women in Africa to start net manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
To then sell to their neighbors and their communities.
So you're just investing in a potential business to get...
that would specifically help prevent mosquitoes from coming into people's sleeping areas. So it's like that's two birds with one stone, charity.
Right.
You literally just helped industry. What?
That sounds a lot more productive too, because while you are still sending off your money, you're sending it off to an individual who's going to do something with it rather than filtering it through a massive nonprofit that like has a bunch of weird legislation and enforcement from our shores. They're going to soak up a lot of the money that you contribute. So it sounds like this sponsorship charity is a lot more productive overall.
Yeah, I would say there are definitely charities to give your time and money to. You just have to you do have to find them. And I believe
it's not the big ones either.
No, it's not. The big names are never the ones you want to do it with.
Right.
But you do have to find them, and you do have to research on them to see whether or not they actually have good policy, because part of it has to do with first principles. What are they following? And because if they're literally always give a man a fish, then they just exist to exist.
That's what I was thinking of that.
Yeah, you keep giving us money so we can pay our high value people at the top insane salaries, by the way.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
6 figures.
Oh,
And we'll keep these people on our hook forever. And is essentially what they do. And that's like their first principle. And versus we want to help people become self-sufficient, like as a first principle for a charity. That's a lot better. Like or immediate cleanup help. Like it's a disaster and we're here to help them solve this disaster problem right now. Like those are, and I'd rather work with a charity than I would with a state, honestly. But it's hard. There's so many that you don't know which one is the right one. So you actually have to like do your due diligence if you're going to take part in it and like really buckle down on that.
I think I'll still say that I like in a generalized way of like local stuff too, that where like it's more likely, even if you have like Salvation Army or Goodwill or something, like when it is still just like at your local area, I can like, all right, I kind of trust that rather than just donating to like online to like Salvation Army. Like who knows where any of that's going, but at least I might know that like there's a Goodwill store here, so like people are purchasing items, and you know, ultimately I probably would prefer other things that aren't like the big businesses. But
with this, I will say I would not donate blood to the Red Cross. I would actually sell my blood to an actual company. And the reason why I make that distinction is because the Red Cross charges money from
so they're just getting a profit.
Yeah, they're making a profit by selling your blood that you gave to them for free. So I'm sort of like, well, then I might as well go to a company that's going to be upfront about the fact that they're here for a profit, and they pay me for my blood. Like, you know, like I wouldn't do it with the Red Cross because of that alone. I'm like, I feel like you're being disingenuous.
I guess unless, I don't know if the Red Cross, you're just the middleman, so then you're paying like what you're paying for like the workers and the supplies and stuff to do it, but I thought they were donating their time too or something. So so ultimately I would
if you really want to donate blood though, go directly to the hospital,
to a vampire.
Because the hospital, if they need blood and you come in and you say I want to give blood, they'll probably take it. But I definitely wouldn't go to Red Cross because they're just going to make money.
The idea of going to a hospital and saying, I want to give you my blood. I've got a lot of blood and I want to give it to you. Also, to back
out of the way.
Back up to the malaria thing, I was going to say, even though they're like helping put businesses there, I'd say that you are putting the mosquitoes out of business a bit. So it's kind of inconsiderate. Mosquitoes got things to do. They've got lives to live.
Oh man, imagine a world where mosquitoes got kickbacks for vaccines.
Yeah, right?
I think they are researching on vaccine delivery for mosquitoes. Like, okay, so there's already an issue with in America specifically, by the way, in the United States, of public dosage. They put fluoride in our water. They don't. That is not something other nations with water treatment necessarily do. It's like us and like I think New Zealand or something like that who put fluoride in water. And there is a
here.
Yeah,
I remember taking like pills in like elementary school where they like come around once a day and like give us with water.
You don't have to have fluoride like ingested, by the way. Like there's the science behind it is so fucking weak. But the problem is that by putting it in the water, you're not controlling the dosage people get. Like say someone who is an athlete drinks more water than someone who is not. Someone with a kidney problem drinks more water than someone who is not. Someone who lives in a desert drinks more water than someone who is not. So this is a problem in dosage.
When you're drinking a lot of,
So here's the problem with that is that it's like, also, what if they, don't want to consent to it. There's no consent involved in this.
Right.
And so, and that same idea, that same problem transfers to the idea of having mosquitoes vaccinate us. Like there's no medical consent there. You're just doing it. And that's not appropriate either.
What, you don't want 20 to 100 doses of a certain thing, like randomly while you're walking in the evening?
No, I don't.
I got so many bug bites right now. It's awful. All right. I mean, there are certain, oh my gosh, two is freaking out. Chats that I need to put on screen still too. Oh, back with Spy Family. Aloise says, I think the secrets represent the obstacles this particular family of exceptional individuals has to go through. Yeah, so that's why I'm hoping, all birds are freaking out right now. I'm hoping that eventually it's like that they will come together and that like you talk to each other, that like you're a family, that you'll try and work through these problems. Otherwise, I mean, maybe it's a cultural difference, but I just don't think that's going to be great to be like, I have this obstacle that I need to go through alone, individually, as part of a family. But I'm like, okay, you're not doing it as a family. All families struggle through something every once in a while, as Aloise. Yeah, that's true. I think, but having huge secrets that eventually bites you in the butt, though, when you're with your family, like when you don't tell them, like that can definitely hurt down the road. GB, the glorious Democratic People's Republic of Korea has no suicide at all, Kim said. So, Eloise, a lot of people nuked themselves recently because they lost everything during the lockdowns. JB, white and black pills are blue as they do not show the truth. It's a binary choice, truth or fiction. Black pills are blue. Oh. Yeah. Okay. And there are a lot of colors in there. It took me a second. Like my brain was not following along there. And Alex is laughing at me now, but she's muted, so you can't hear her. Johnny boy, I like, what is it? Orgs, like Kiva, which lets you adopt. Oh, organizations. Okay. Really struggling with. I mentioned earlier that I don't know how to read, so this makes a lot of sense. Which lets you adopt a business owner in poor countries, contribute to them being successful. Oh, this poor. I really like that. It's awesome. I'm gonna adopt a business owner. George says, I remember about a decade ago, there was this guy doing microloans in the third world. Yeah, I bet that's helpful. Well, there are a lot more chats in here. Okay, I'm not going to read them all. Sorry. If there are any that stand out, I will. But yeah, okay. So where do we land on? Mosquitoes? Donate your blood to mosquitoes, I think is what is what I learned. Is that right? Was that not the lesson? Okay. Don't keep secrets from your family. Donate blood to mosquitoes or vampires. Put hospitals in textile companies. I don't know. There's a lot of words.
I like that one.
Which one?
This one that you have up right now.
Oh, JB, the claim. American Red Cross pays its CEO nearly $652,000 while spending 9 cents of every dollar it collects on people in need. Yeah. Wow.
He has a verdict up too. It's a couple down.
Oh, okay. Verdict. False. It was $694,000 a year. Thanks, USA Today. Fact check. Wow.
$2,000 more. Oh no, wait.
Wait, it's 94? Yeah.
94 to 52. Yeah. That's a big difference.
Jeez Louise. Wow. I want to work for the Red Cross. I've never made that much money before. That is just I like George. The typo there just says Florida is naturally in the water in parts of, is that Colorado?
I'm pretty sure that's an autocorrect.
Either way, I love, so just generally sometimes when my phone or something autocorrects things, but if it's hilarious, then I just leave it as that too. And there was also, I like the suggestions sometimes in my phone. Once, I forget what I was typing, but the next word suggestion was murder. And it's like, I want to and murder on there. I'm like, what have I been writing that makes my phone think that this is what I want to type? Because it like doesn't it kind of learn from what you've been saying? And I was just wondering, how many times have I talked about that? So.
Watch out, you're being framed. FBI's gonna show up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, George corrects it as fluoride. Yeah, no. It's okay, George, because there are, what is an improv? There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. So again, that's what I like to. What I think. Oh, I remember when I've written like bah ha 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 when I'm laughing, it changes it to Baghdad. So for a while, I would just send people Baghdad when I laughed. So I like. Laughing emoji, Baghdad, exclamation mark.
I just put an autofill message in the chat.
Oh, what does it say? I want my friends to touch base with you and see how it is doing with the stuff that you want to do with your life and your body. Is this what Kamala Harris uses to write her speeches?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
I never thought about that, but like, because that's sometimes it'll kind of recycle, it'll circle back and use, and so every day is the thing that is today. She totally just uses autofill when she writes.
That's what's happening in her brain as she's standing there talking.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious to see if what did you start with when you type that? Did you start with I want?
Yeah, I want. I started with I want.
All right. All right, I want you. I'm going to just do the middle one. How long is this going to go? All right, I'll stop it. I want you, and I think her name, and I think you will like her, and you are a handful, and a half of your time in your lives at the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God, those auto-fill options are hilarious.
Again, it seems like something Kamala would say. I'm kind of happy. Oh, no, I think I'm not happy. I'm disappointed that this time it didn't say anything about murder. Oh, yeah. Eloise says that my phone is trying to entrap me. Type in murder. Like, oh, whoops, did I say murder? And Baghdad? Uh-oh. Didn't mean to do that. JB says you need Russian collusion dressing for Kamala's word salad. Yeah. Okay, well, that's fun. I kind of want to do this autofill thing. Generally, no, this is fun. Coley, I think I've only watched the one episode of Ascendance of a Bookworm, so I don't really have enough opinion to say about it anyway. It'd probably be good to like save it next time when I do. I'll say the only thing I'll say is that I didn't think I was going to really be that into it as I was watching it, because I'm like, this is kind of slow. It does
kind of slow.
But then I got interested because like she's this like from the modern world into this olden times world where there aren't books, and now like her goal is to try and like get books existing more in this world. So then it was like, once I kind of was thinking about that concept, like now I'm intrigued. She has this goal to do, and so I think I'm changing my mind about it. So I am interested in seeing what might happen after.
Yeah. I honestly had no idea. Like, I won't say spoilers. I had no idea that it was going to go where it went. Like, I didn't, based on the first episode, have any idea what they were going to do with it. And it just builds on itself over and over and over. It's actually, the title is more descriptive and gives you a better idea of the show than the first episode, Ascendance.
Right, that's what I was thinking. That I was thinking about that line. I'm like, or the title. I was just like, yeah, like if she's ascending, that means she's going to grow and like things are going to happen for her. So I'm like, okay, well, now I'm interested to see her journey, I guess.
When I had my dad see the show, he told me that it reflected a style of story he doesn't actually see very often. It's an old German style story where it's the protagonist usually starts at some lower point, not necessarily like unhappy, but like at some lower point, and the plot progression is dependent on the protagonist building up, so to speak. So like, it's not that nothing bad can happen, it's just that for the protagonist, something good will generally always come out of it.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about this to me before.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. But yeah, so once I watch more, then we'll come back and
I just think it's interesting that my dad brought it up, because it's obvious that the creator actually has a passion for stories and stuff like that. Well, it has a passion for a lot of stuff. If you read the novel it's based on, the author goes into very lengthy detail. I'd say that the anime cuts out some stuff that's a little unfortunate, but a lot of the stuff that it cuts out is just, it's just the author just telling you about how to do certain crafts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not missing out on much. Aloise says, so the Dungeons & Dragons movie or series, how was it? Actually, that's I was waiting until Alex got here, because it's just a trailer so far that Coley had sent me.
And that's Chris Pine, right?
Chris Pine, yeah. So I was surprised to see him, and let me do this so we can watch this trailer, because we're always demonetized anyway. And that's why I've been putting all the chats on screen in case we just get blocked completely. So then we're going to lose chat when we edit this out later. But all right, let me play this. Loud. The audio's playing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge. Truth be told, we help the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
Well, how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best. You need to give us a fighting chance. We're gonna need strength. You got this, right?
I know you don't.
We also need courage, magic, and you. What is that again? It's an owl bear.
Let's go!
Be warned. There is evil here.
I'm glad he's on our side.
This one's dangerous. But whatever happens, we'll be ready.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
you make plans that fail.
No,
He also plays the lute.
not relevant.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that they're advertising it as a heist movie.
Oh, is that? Or you mean just from the trailer or the?
Yeah, just from the trailer. Because those music cues are generally, like, it's not exclusive to heist movies, but it's definitely more frequent with like heist movie with a bit of comedy or action with a bit of comedy. So the music cues are screaming it's probably a heist movie, but based on what clips they showed us, it seems like it's a heist movie gone wrong, where the plot continues to make the heist right again.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
maybe not the
that's what I
heist
thought.
itself, but
So I didn't know if it would be considered a full heist movie. That is like they start it starts off with it, and then they spend the rest of the movie trying to correct the wrong that they've done.
I mean, it's impossible to tell pacing.
That's true. I thought like immediately there was this moment. It was like so fast. I was like, "That's Hugh Grant, isn't it?" Like it was real fast, and I just looked it up, and it is Hugh Grant. And I'm gonna guess right now that he's the actual bad guy. That there's gonna be a thing where they're like, "Oh, he's not a bad guy," and then it's gonna be revealed that Hugh Grant's the bad guy. That's my prediction right now from that trailer.
Everyone hear that?
The druid is Sophia Lillis, who I love. I was like, wait a minute, I recognize her.
She looks familiar.
She's from the It movies.
Oh,
she's the young Beverly, and that I Am Not Okay TV show on Netflix.
Netflix? Okay, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, which is like a Carrie-like TV show.
Okay.
She's developing telekinesis and everything, and she's not well liked. Although I think it's supposed to be more comedy. I didn't finish the show, but okay, all
right. Well,
yeah, that's who that is.
Yeah, so I can see it being as like heist. So it seems like heist gone wrong. I don't know how much of like the beginning part of like the actual thieving is going to take up. It seems like more just a correction of the film. But as someone who plays D&D, I don't know, like I'm excited for it. Like it looks like it'll be a fun movie because I forget what Coley you had said, because I was saying, like, I remember you responding a message and I was like, let's wait till Thursday so we have like a fresh conversation. Right. But it was something about how, because you said like, oh, it seems like they're kind of making fun or making light of stuff. I forget what all you had said to it though. So what are your do you think that this will be a good movie or a bad movie? I guess
I don't know whether it's going to be a quote good or quote bad movie. I think it probably will be a fun movie.
Yes,
but like somebody else said in chat, they can't really do worse than the other D&D movies so far. Like when I saw the trailer, I was thinking, didn't they already do this? Didn't they already try this before? I think they would have done a lot better with the last one I remember seeing if they had advertised it more like this one, where you're definitely getting like a fun kind of campy vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It seems campy.
But it seems campy, but I'm not sure that it's going to be full-on camp based on the content. It seems like they're going to take it partially seriously.
Yes, and I like that. I think that's what it looks like. They're doing a serious movie but having fun with it, which is how I like to run my D&D game too.
Sure. I know I was really excited very, very early on in the trailer because one of the first things you see fly at the camera is a displacer beast, and that's one of my favorite monsters.
Yeah, I saw, a lot of things. We had the mimic in there, the owlbear, dragon, and I guess I should have worn my D&D dress instead. Instead, I'm wearing ice.
The owlbear, when it turned into the person, I was like, oh wow, it's a druid. It's not just some owlbear. It's a person.
Their names based on what they put in IMDb, their names are the bard, the barbarian, the paladin, the sorcerer, the druid, the rogue.
Is Chris Pine? Is he supposed to be the rogue or the bard?
He's the bard. That's why he plays the lute.
The lute. That's what I was wondering. But then when I was reading a thing, it said something about a rogue leading blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, why does he have a lute if he's going to be?
He's not the rogue
because he's going to be the charismatic guy. Sounds more like a bard.
It sounds like they're going to lean into some of the jokes about bards being useless.
Yeah, that's fair. The paladin is played by the guy from that Netflix TV show Bridgerton, the rom-com TV show. The Regency romance. And then the sorcerer is played by the guy from Jurassic World Dominion and Fallen Kingdom. And what is that?
Which guy?
Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Oh, wait.
I like that guy, actually.
Did he play the main guy
in Pokemon Detective Pikachu?
What did he do in Jurassic? Was he the assistant?
He's like working for when in the second movie when Claire is working for that activist group.
Yeah.
There's the paleo veterinarian, and then there's the other guy who's the computer science guy. He's the computer science guy. And he's got a brief scene in Dominion.
Oh, okay. I can't remember him now.
Yeah, but he's the main character of Pokemon Detective.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember. I never connected that he was in Detective Pikachu and in Jurassic World.
It's the same guy.
Side note: I was going to mention this too. Apparently, Bryce Dallas Howard has come out and said that she was paid so much less than her Jurassic World co-star Chris Pratt. So gasp to hear that like. Bryce Dallas Howard, a name who I just already knew generally and did not like have to look up every time and like remembered who she was as a human being compared to Chris Pratt. Like I knew them equally because I'm someone who like knows names well anyway. And like Chris Pratt is equally famous to Bryce Dallas Howard in my eyes.
I think though, when it comes to ticket sales and eyes on the screen, he is actually a hotter ticket than her. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's what.
Yeah.
Sarcasm didn't come through. That's why he's paid more is because people want to see Chris Pratt, who everyone loved him in Parks and Rec. Then he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in Jurassic World. He's in what else? He was in a Terminalist. He was in which other movie that he was. Some other action thing, I think.
Tomorrow War. But he's got 12 major titles coming out in this year.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how he does it, but he's got like the Terminalist, he's got Jurassic World Dominion, he was in Thor Love and Thunder. I think he's got like another MCU title he's actually going to be appearing in. He works his ass off.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and that's just like him appearing in things, let alone all the actual exercise he has to do to stay in shape for all of them. Like, my God.
Parks and Rec, didn't he gain weight for the role? Like, I think like he wasn't working out and like drinking and stuff so he could get that role. But so that's what I mean is that of course that Bryce Dallas Howard is going to get paid less. Like people want to see Chris Pratt. Like I have no idea who she is. Hi G-Man outside of the movie. And then I didn't even remember who she was after like coming back to the movie. I'm like, which character is this again? Like, oh, she was in the first, like when I watched the second movie after years of the first one, I'm like, I have no idea who she is. She's just the main ginger girl apparently. Hi Silverlock. Thank you for the super sticker. It doesn't show up on stream, but I see it's a hippo cyborg with a robot arm and a rocket eye.
Well, one of the problems is that no one confuses Chris Pratt for someone else. Bryce Dallas Howard and Jessica Chastain, people confuse those two people all the time. Like literally.
No, Jessica Chastain. Who's? Oh yeah, I could totally see them mixing her up. Oh, Jessica Chastain, I think looks better than Bryce Dallas Howard too. So should have cast her in that role instead. You know. Yeah, I don't know. I think my boyfriend was the one who mentioned that noted that like, oh, she's come out and admitted this. Like, okay. Yeah, it's not a woman versus man thing necessarily. Like it's gonna be like who wants to see like which actor more though. Like Chris Pratt is huge.
Like I think if you put again, years later now, Chris Pratt versus Jessica Lawrence, they probably both are huge draws. Him though, still maybe more because I don't know. He's got the draw for the like middle American. Like that, I don't know that a lot of actors actually have, besides like Tom Cruise. And it's like when you're comparing an actor to Tom Cruise, it's kind of hard to put anyone else on that same level. Like, when it comes to draw.
So there are a few chats that I want to go back to, but also now JB says Detective Pikachu's Ryan Reynolds, who's not in Jurassic World Domination. Chris Pratt, who is in Dominican, is not in Pikachu. And then he said autocorrect, having fun today. But we're talking about the human who's in Detective Pikachu, unless you were joking about that, but I can't tell from all of the autocorrect. But like Dominican. But I wanted to backtrack too, because I think, was it JB or someone who suggested there needs to be a TV show of D&D where there it is. A good TV show based on a D&D game where the players can die any episode and come back with a new character next week, or someone else can step in. I want to do that.
Yeah,
like do a stream. We can just stream that. Not, I don't like killing off anyone, but it's a fun thing. Like we can play D&D and just stream it. I'm down for that.
I think that is an untapped idea because I think people would not have a problem with that. JP's idea that they like, and then the actor's back next week with a completely new character. I think people
big names.
love it.
Mm-hmm. There's what is it called? There's Mutant Crawl Classics and Dungeon Crawl Classics. So, and which one do I have? But Mutant. But like you, it's like really hard. Like you make like 5 different characters a person per player because they're gonna die. Like you're level 0 or something to just make it to level 1, and you go through, and they're like, well, maybe one of these is gonna make it out. It's because like you go through and just like might die instantly. So, but I think it's just if you have something where it's just super intense and like, yeah, your character died, now you're coming back and you're playing, and that's fun too, because if you have like good actors and like, oh, I'm gonna play this charismatic bard, or I'm gonna play this obnoxious paladin or something, though I like subverting the stereotypes and stuff too, and I play.
I do want to say though that I haven't seen Michelle Rodriguez in a movie in a while. Like there was a period. That's the barbarian. Yeah. I recognized her. She seems much older because she is. But there was a time period there where she was in like every movie pretty much, but she has been like it felt like she was not in anything lately, and it's odd to see her again. I don't know how I feel about that, because like she did kind of get tired, like because she almost always plays the same character. Like is this strong, badass, like military type, like who doesn't take any shit. She's one of the guys. Like, oh, like it's like, oh, you need that person. Well, let's hire Michelle Rodriguez. Like that was like what they did and for a long time, and it was like, and I'm like, she's back doing it again, but it's been a while. So maybe I'm okay with it.
I forgot about it. Yeah. That's just like, okay, like you exhausted your one thing that you do, but now, because like I kept wondering why she looked familiar, but she was just like, oh, you're an older version of yourself from before. Okay, I get it. Also, Johnny Boy suggested the first D&D movie as a good candidate for a bad movie night, so I made note of that and post that in Discord later. Is it called? Oh wait, what's Ramble on Misty Mountain Hop? Is that the name? Ramble on Misty. Or are you just saying that? But every word was capitalized, so it seems like a name. Oh, well, I see a Four Non-Blondes song called Misty Mountain Hop. Okay, was there anything else?
By the first D&D movie, does he mean the 1983 one? Because there's also one that came out in 2000.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
The one in 2000. I haven't seen any. I don't think I've ever watched a D&D movie.
I know about the 2000 one because I remember the trailers. I was not alive in 1983, so but I remember them because Jeremy Irons is in it, and that's really weird. And Marlon Wayans for no good reason.
All right. Well, both are probably bad, so we can probably put both. Wait, where was I at in? I'm just gonna start with Crazy Cat Guy. I keep forgetting who I put on screen and who I haven't. So, G-Man says that Carter said he's too old to watch the show. This show or D&D stuff? Probably this series, which is good. I was telling Coley before the stream, I think before or on, I don't remember, about how I mentioned to Carter on Tuesday during our team meeting how I've been playing his Beyonce rap clip multiple times the last couple episodes. He was not aware of this. And then he said, I hate you so much right now. So
I was surprised he had no idea you were doing that.
I was not surprised. I knew that he had no idea, and that's why I keep playing. Well, part of the reason. Also, it's just hilarious. So, in light of G-Man mentioning that he's too old to watch this show, I'm going to play the clip now, too.
Cool it down, 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 my pretty. Bad, bad bitch. Make the bad, bad glitchy. Fine, 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 fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Carter. Thank you for that. Never gets old. The one with Jeremy Irons and Sean Wayans. So I don't know. Those sound like 80s names, right? Monsters.
They're not. I mean, Jeremy Irons was around during the 80s, but no, it's not the 83 movie.
Oh, he's talking about 2000. We're going to watch both.
The
There's no way that the 83 movie is going to be good. Yeah, he says both D&D movies are equally bad, but good fun, says JB. This show, he says he doesn't get all the pop culture references from G-Man. Yeah. Except he was referencing, wasn't it on Narrative Dissonance? He referenced Death Note, which is an anime. Like, didn't go into detail about it.
To hear that he referenced it.
Yeah, like I know he's watched it. Like we've talked about like a few different anime before, but like he just threw that out there, but like without any real context, he just kind of talked like what did he say? Like the Notebook or something. I'm like, yeah, like okay, but I don't think anyone else gets that reference. Maybe like it's weird from him.
I will be right back. I'm gonna feed the monsters.
All right,
the monsters. Jimmy said Carter is what my generation would call too square for this show. I'm about 15 years older than he is. Are you? I mean, depends how old you think he is. I know. He always says that he's older than he looks, but who knows how old he looks. All right. Well, we've got a D&D thing. Was there anything else that I think that's kind of it? Alex left to go feed her cats, but I kind of I guess we can talk. Coley, you were here for talking about bad movie night. We watched Double Dragon the other night. We can go into that a little bit and then wrap up because it's dark outside. I need to put the birds away. But so we watched Double Dragon, and then was it 1994 classic movie about two brothers, one Asian and one that was white but apparently looked kind of Asian. What was his name? Scott something. And what was the plot line? There's the bad guy. They had like magical necklace pieces, and the bad guy who was played by, what's his name? Robert Patrick? Is that the right name?
I don't know.
I just know him from season like 8 and 9 of X-Files, and he's done a bunch of other things too. But that's right. Double Dragon is I forgot this, but I did know it's a video game initially, and so then they just made the movie based off of the game. But I was trying
which I believe it's a beat 'em up.
Yeah. Is that just like a Mortal Kombat kind of thing? Is that what beat 'em up?
No, Mortal Kombat is an actual fighter. A fighter is you playing a character, your opponent's playing a character, you face each other on the screen, and you hit buttons to hit each other. A beat 'em up is generally, if it's multiplayer, generally co-op. So you go on the same direction, beating up the bad guys as you move, usually
it's
to
like
the right.
Scroller.
Yeah, usually that's how beat 'em ups work.
I think like Ninja Turtles and
Simpsons,
like they've played like games that like are on that kind of arcade thing when you do it that way.
I believe it would be beat 'em ups as well.
Okay, but they there's so many Double Dragon. Like there's a TV series that in 1993, and then you had the film 1994. So we had Scott Wolf was one of the brothers, and then who was not Asian but passed off. Alyssa Milano was in it, and it was Robert Patrick. I remembered the name. It was two first names of like a white guy. Was kind of guessing, but got there and nailed it. but so yeah, they had to go and take down Robert Patrick and use their powers of like their half dragon necklaces, and eventually became a double dragon, and it was way better than Rhodey. So I think Rhodey really is like, I think everything can beat Rhodey. That was just like the worst thing that I've seen.
I did not watch Double Dragon. I watched Rhodey. I made the mistake of watching Rhodey.
I know. I mean, you're still not missing anything with Double Dragon. It's okay. Like that's again, the plot was very basic as far as they were high schoolers too. She was supposed to be like 17. But she was like part of some sort of weird gang, but then they cared about kids. So then they had like this weird underground like play center or something and it was like a post-apocalyptic world and the far off distant future of 2007.
Yeah, it was lightly apocalyptic though. It wasn't like full-blown deserts and bottle caps. It was just like a little dilapidated.
They had like home, like people still lived in regular houses, but then you had a lot of people dressed as if it was like fully post-apocalyptic. Right. So they're living like grungy. It was Los Angeles, called New Angeles, and then so they still had like regular city life, but it was just like in the mix of crazy apocalyptic people who are like behaving as if the whole world's ended and like, what are you doing?
Did
like
they ever explain what the big earthquake stuff was about? Did they ever go into detail?
I don't think so. I know. I don't think they ever did. I think it was just supposed to be like, yep, some big earthquake happened and hurt everyone. And
okay. Because usually when it's like, oh, yeah, read that.
Okay, just hold your thought. Johnny Boy Quick Draw, thank you for the super chat. A small donation so Beverly can buy a few more colors. I like purple as much as the next person, but maybe throw some burnt sienna or fuchsia in there. I'd say that some of this has like fuchsia and like in the background. Thanks, Johnny Boy. I couldn't afford other colors. What were you saying, Coley?
Just that usually when there's like a big earthquake thing going on, and they're all like, yeah, and the ripples kept going and stuff, like usually it's like supernatural when you have supernatural stuff in the movie.
Yeah, that there were
so it's completely unrelated. It's like here's these two halves of an amulet that give mystical powers, and also earthquakes happened. Yeah, like not really just they happened.
Maybe it would have been better like if like the history of the necklace, and not like super long ago, but like maybe like the person who was trying to get it beforehand, in trying to do so, it split the necklace and it caused this giant earthquake and everything fell apart, and now they're trying to like put it back to or something. I don't know, but like yeah, I agree that they should have written in that the earthquake had a reason to be there, but
I think they just wanted that setting.
Yeah, I think so too. And G-Man also asks, wasn't he in the Dragon Ball movie? Who was in Dragon Ball movie? The Dragon Ball Evolution? I never saw
Dragon Ball Evolution. My God, Dragon Ball Evolution is also a very, very viable bad movie night contender.
Yeah,
it is not a good movie.
Have you seen it too? Okay.
Especially if you know Dragon Ball, because my God.
Oh God, I love Dragon Ball, and that movie was fucking painful. Just see, like I was in high school when that movie came out, and just looking at the posters and seeing the trailers, I was like, this is not fucking Dragon Ball. What the hell did they do? Like, it was obvious.
Goku never went to high school. He never went to high school.
I don't think he went to school.
His hair was. And who they hired to be Goku, it was like, this is just weird and terrible.
Oh man,
there are too many.
Oma and Piccolo and just everything was just so.
Yeah, okay, so we're definitely gonna have to watch it because I have no content. I mean, when I saw like trailers for it, I was like, this seems bad, and I'm not interested in watching. But now, I think that for Bad Movie Night, we should. So we'll have to do it sometime.
For a adequate action comedy / horror, you should watch Day Shift.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do
Mm.
next. We're gonna talk. I was saving
Yeah.
that because we wanted to talk about it this week, but someone had better things to do.
Yes.
So we will talk about Day Shift next week. And what was the other thing? There were two things that you.
I think I said Uncharted was number 2 on Netflix.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Movies.
Maybe that was. So I'll have to. Oh,
Oh.
is it? Okay, that's the one with Spider-Man kid, right?
Yes, Tom Holland. I was like, what do you mean?
I don't know.
And then there was something about, oh yeah, the Resident Evil TV show finally came out on Netflix. So it was like
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil and Uncharted are both adaptations of video game franchise.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like the Resident Evil movies are not that good. Like they get worse over time, by the way. Like I watched almost all of them, and they get really like, what the fuck is he doing? The director, who's also apparently the star's husband. So,
Okay.
yeah, explaining why he kept making those movies, and then he adapted Monster Hunter World, another video game franchise. Also, still starring her because
she's a great actress.
Yeah, that was why. That's
really
why.
talented.
No, it's not because he wants to get laid when he goes to home at night. It's because
So I didn't know they did one for Monster Hunter World.
I didn't go watch it. I didn't see it because I found out he endangers stunt actors when he films.
Oh.
And I was like,
really?
okay, that's I'm not necessarily one to like boycott things, but I was like, someone died. Someone literally died on his set because he changed how they were doing the stunt and didn't communicate to the stunt team, and someone else
the
had
people
their
that matters most to.
Yeah, exactly. And they'd been complaining for years on Resident Evil sets about him and how he handled stunts.
Wow.
And someone died, and I was like, and this guy still gets to make movies that involve stunts? Why do people keep working with him? So it's like, I don't really want to like, I don't want to support that. Like, I'm not usually that person, but I was like, I don't want to support it. So
when people are literally dying,
not actually going to be good. You know, it's not like you're dying for some great movie. It's also a very bad movie, I'm sure.
Sacrifice. Also, G-Man had said earlier, never mind, it was a different guy. Are you saying you're just confusing Asian people then? Is that what's happening, G-Man? Because all Asians look the same to you? Was that?
Because the guy in the Dragon Ball movie isn't Asian, I don't think.
I don't even know. Justin Chatwin. So are you saying all white people look the same to you? Is that he's Canadian? Is Scott Wolf also Canadian? Is that who you're comparing it to? Scott Wolf? Is he Canadian?
George mentions that Alec Baldwin shot someone. I know everyone heard about that when that happened though. Mm-hmm. When that stunt actor died, like no one heard about it because there was because it was like, no one on the set was famous, so no one gave a shit at the time. And it was like, that's not a reason to talk about this or not.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And GB says there's an Uncharted fan film with Nathan Fillion that's about 1 million times better than what Netflix did, which that made me go mouth agape because I love Nathan Fillion, and I've talked before. I'm like, I want to do like a Nathan Fillion episode, just watch everything.
I love that. He is awesome.
Motown had shown me. I didn't know it was like PG porn videos or something though. But Nathan Fillion, I don't think he's only in the one. But so it's just they go in and what was it? He like played some sort of construction worker, but like nothing actually happened. It was just like, but they like had like the lead up to it. But it was like a parody of it though too. But Nathan Fillion played like the hunky construction worker. I forget how it ended now, but yeah. So I had to check off another thing. I was just listening to the Dr. Horrible soundtrack the other day. because I'm going through and playing each album on my phone in order for the first time. But this is going. I was in the D's. But yeah, I love Nathan Fillion. So just a whole episode about him. Or
Which titles would you want to cover for a Nathan Fillion episode?
all of them.
Oh God! You know, he's had 2 TV shows, right? No, 3.
Yeah, I was gonna
3
say
TV shows.
because right now he is the Rookie. I'm still working on Castle. And you had Firefly. What else? He was Dr. Horrible. He just has so many things. So I at least want to like mention all of them. But I don't know which. Probably at least those ones. Then I'd like to talk about. Because I don't even know what all else he's done either. So I need to like go through.
He's in Blast from the Past.
I don't know that one.
Rom-com. Yeah, it stars Alicia Silverstone and Brendan Fraser. And yeah, he is like someone who like wants to take her out on a date or something. Like it's not a big part. and it's kind of funny because it's just like, oh, that's Nathan Fillion. And he's not famous at the time that the movie came out. Like he's not huge.
Yeah.
So it's like, like looking back on it, it's like, oh wow, that's weird. I didn't expect him.
Coley is in that movie too. Okay, definitely need to look that up.
It's a fun movie. It is definitely worth watching.
Brendan Fraser has not aged well, but maybe he's just he's older now. I don't know.
He went through some hardcore shit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he did. Like psychologically, he went through some hard stuff.
I used to like appearance-wise, but maybe that was just a couple of bad pictures. Maybe he's working on it. Yeah, maybe those are older. Looks better now. But okay, yeah. So at some point, Nathan Fillion. But next week we'll do Day Shift. We'll see what else we're gonna talk about too. But I think that's kind of all I have for today. And I need to go make sure my birds haven't been eaten now that it's dark outside. So anything else from you two? Or for you two? Do I have anything to give? No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll stop crying.
Missy always has something to say. I'm so glad that she's there to add and to fill in the silence. But all right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Coley and Alex. Thank you, Coley, for guest hosting. Thank you, Alex, for not hating me enough tonight after all.
You don't know whether or not I hate you. I haven't said.
I said enough that you were willing to show up, though. Like, so I know. I mean, like, that there's still a level, but like, it's not so much that you like refuse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, crazy cat guy sent a super sticker. I don't know what it looks like though. Oh, it's a cat. Fox? Cat?
It might be a fox.
It's orange. Fox waving bye-bye. Yeah, we have like 3
Based on
of
the
them.
tail, I think it's a fox.
Is there a tail? Oh, okay. That definitely. That was just a fat paw.
Where are you like seeing it?
You have to go to the YouTube side because StreamYard doesn't show it. So then so then I just have to have both windows up. It's annoying that StreamYard doesn't.
I bet.
I have it up on my phone.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how I follow it. This is how I've been doing it forever.
I know. I'll see you like look on your phone for
live stream. I like it looks weird because like often during my live streams for games, I like look over here and I'm talking to chat, even though my camera is up here.
I figured it out though. Like when I watch your streams and stuff and I look over, I'm like, oh, she's using it on her phone so that way she can see it while she has the game. Like I figured it out. I've deduced it, so it's okay.
I have to have it closer to me because of how blind I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to read the text.
And games will like take up your whole screen and stuff too. So then it's hard to like. It's easier. I do stuff on my phone a lot too, because especially if I'm screen sharing something, then I forget that I'm sharing. I did that with Bad Movie Night. I look up the actor that I saw in there, and I forgot that I was sharing the window, not just the tab. So when I made a new tab, it was like, oh. you can tell it's not a cat because it's waving, not flipping you off. Yeah, thanks, JP. Yeah, so I've done that on air too, like with Covfefe breaks, where I've just accidentally I forgot that I was currently screen sharing. I'm like, oh, I want to look this thing up, and I just open a new tab while like they're talking about stuff, and I'm like, whoops, gotta
That was pretty funny though, because you said I'm gonna stop looking stuff up during the last movie night, and then you immediately went to look something else up.
I meant on screen. Wasn't I looking up on my phone?
No,
ADHD.
You were like, we were like, yeah, the when we were watching Double Dragon, you looked something up and we're like, we can all see that, and then you were like, oh shoot, right, and then you're like, oh, I need to look this thing up. Oh no, I won't look it up because I have it shared. But then you looked it up anyway.
Did you,
like 2 seconds later.
I thought I grabbed it. I broke it from the window, so you weren't seeing it.
No, we were seeing it anyway.
Oh, I don't know.
She's looking up vibrators while you guys are watching.
I'm so afraid of that. I'm like going to look up something bad though, because sometimes whatever I'm doing, I'm like, I just get curious about something. Like it'll like click in. I'm like, oh, what's this thing? And I'll look it up. But I think it was afterward where I was just like, once I was done looking it up, then I'm like, then I'm not gonna. And I don't think I did anymore. Or if I did on my phone, so I wasn't touching the computer anymore. So that's how I was able to stop myself. But I have like 20 tabs right now too, because like throughout the show, I'm just like looking up, like opening up actors and names of things and stuff. So it's a mess. But okay, thank you guys again. I updated the end credits a little bit more too, to just add more text. So that's fun. I need to re-update it with the new baby Goose though. But okay, thank you everyone. We don't have anything tomorrow. Please like, share, subscribe, donate. If you donate, you can join our Discord server for as little as $1 a month, and then we can hang out in there and do bad movie nights and game nights and things.
Did you tell them about book club?
Not yet. I didn't do any housekeeping up front because I keep forgetting.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I missed it.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. What else do we have? So next week we've got same old. There's nothing like particularly standoutish. And book club is September 25th of the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. Okay. And 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm just like remembering by syllable and not by like actual words here. And I also, the Satanic Verses, I keep thinking I want to say Savage Worlds, which is an RPG, but like so like I don't know why. Savage Worlds. Yeah. Really? Yeah, I'm playing that tomorrow night. But I think it's just like Satanic and Savage, like it's stuck in my head. So then every time I think about it, like I have to swap it out. Yes, so that is the next book club, and followed by October 30th for what was the other book that we were going to do?
Slaughterhouse 5.
Slaughterhouse 5. That's right.
By Kurt Vonnegut.
Mm-hmm. And I might not read the book, but I did find an ebook comic of the graphic novel done by Ryan North, who I love. So that was free from like my library thing online. So I might just I started it.
I read Slaughterhouse 5 in grad school for my like contemporary lit test, comprehensive exam, and it's one of the easier books to read. Honestly, it's pretty short. The narrative is all over the place, but it's very short.
Yeah,
and the prose isn't very like dense, I would say. So that one's not a hard read. While I love Salman Rushdie's prose style, he is very like musical and I want to say like fantastical in how he composes his prose. So that one's actually going to be harder. I'm doing the audiobook version, which is always really fun because of how he writes his prose. But
yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I think I'm doing the audiobook of it too. So in chat here, after JB mentioned 8% of people admit to looking up sex toys online, the other 92% are lying. Immediately after, we got some sort of porn bot that came into the chat. JB's like, apparently you can summon bots. My bad. I popped up with like 7 different chats and things all at once. And yeah, that's what Johnny Boy says. Wow, the best adult dating. That's quite a claim because the name was Love Chat 1 XYZ, best adult dating site.
Wait, who's running the kid dating sites?
Yeah, right? Yeah, thanks for.
Good point. Why do you have to
What do you need to
qualify that?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Hannock says if you like surprise endings, watch Radius. You'll hate it. Okay, it's on Netflix. Write that down for Radius too. Is it a bad movie night potential then?
I was talking to someone today and yesterday and the day before probably about the movie Charade, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I imagine you've never seen it, Beverly.
That's a
This
good
is not
imagine.
Yeah, it's not something for bad movie night. It is something that you just need to see.
Okay, well we have another Discord channel for that too. That really
it is. Yeah, it's the best Hitchcock movie that he never made.
Oh, okay. Charade. Oh, Johnny Boy posted Saw. I have seen Saw, and I have. He posted it in the movies that everyone needs to see. And I talked about this before, I think on air, because I was bothered by the sound effects of it, because I remember a knife coming out of the cake that went shing, as if the cake was metal, or some sort of sound that like a metal knife hitting it would make a shing sound. Like that's I've baked and sliced a bunch of cakes, and I've never heard that shing sound come from it.
Shing when you slice your bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Especially those old Sam Raimi TV shows where everything made a sound.
everything makes a punching sound effect no matter what you. Oh man, I want to edit something like that now. Like you pick up a cup and it's just punch sound.
I saw this great live stream once where someone was interviewing Bruce Campbell, Kevin Sorbo, and not Sam Raimi. Who's that? It's the brother who's the actor. I can't remember his name.
But Sam Raimi's brother?
Yeah, the other Raimi.
Yeah.
Not Ivan Raimi either. Like it starts with a J, I think. But interviewing all three of them.
Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi. Yeah, it was Ted Raimi.
J.
Yeah, in interviewing all three of them at the same time, and they were like talking about back when they were doing like Hercules and Xena and everything, and it was so awesome because like apparently Bruce Campbell directed a lot of the episodes, and they were doing it in New Zealand, and you know that's the show that like everything makes a punching sound. It was a very awesome interview because like someone made a joke about like, oh, like I think Ted Raimi said like, oh yeah, I was in the gym too, like to Kevin Sorbo, who's you know the hot bod guy, and then Kevin Sorbo said the last time I saw you was in a gym. So like those three were pretty fun to see like interact actually.
That's awesome. All right, so and Charade is the name of that. I put that in.
Yes,
so,
Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn.
And people have talked about too wanting to do like a good movie night and watching them, which I'm kind of picky about because sometimes I'm like, if I want to watch a movie, I don't want people talking over it though. If it's going to be good, so I'm iffy on that, but I can also handle it depending on it. So maybe we'll do that too. Got bad movie night. I'm thinking I want to do more gaming stuff too. It doesn't always have to be Left 4 Dead. That just happens to be what I'm playing. But I kind of want to do like Cards Against Humanity, although they just had like they did a virtue signal thing recently. But I know there's an online version. Johnny Boy had shared it with me before, and I don't know. So we could do like Jackbox games or something. So we'll do another game night somehow and see if we can get people
or another. Keep talking and nobody
keep talking. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, Tree Surgeon, you are late.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah, we were technically wrapping up like 20 minutes ago, and then got distracted and kept going.
Yes.
So yeah, so welcome and goodbye, Tree Surgeon. It's nice to see you around. But I have to go make sure this baby Goose is still alive, and then bring in some ducks and lock up some chickens. They're imprisoned. But all right, thank you again, guys, in chat and gals on screen. Because again, I'm pretty sure we have all males in chat. So that is our demographic. But have a good night. And then we did all of the housekeeping. Come join us in Discord. We're lonely. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for sticking around until the end. If you're new to Unsafe Space, check out our deep content library that includes discussions with everyone from James Lindsay to Brett Weinstein. And please consider helping to fund our work by visiting unsafespace.com/donate. You can find us on a variety of social media platforms, and you can find a community of like-minded individuals on our Unsafe Space Discord server, which is open to financial supporters at any level. We hope to see you there.
Warning. This is an unsafe space. Dangerous ideas have been detected. The content of this production is known by the state of California to cause unregulated ideation that may be harmful to bureaucrats. Association with the following individuals or tacos is strictly prohibited. Apropos of nothing, I was just wondering how would you feel about another pandemic? Your president is in full control of his mental faculties. If you think about it, no one should be allowed to express opinions. But don't. Think about it, I mean. That's not your job. Thinking has been scientifically proven to be less efficient than compliance. Science, scientific, and scientifically are registered trademarks of the World Economic Forum. Unauthorized use is prohibited. Computer voice courtesy. Never mind, that last line is fake news. Please disregard it and return to your safe space immediately. There will be cake.